Hi, thank you for watching, and this is the first video for the new 6 weeks. I'd like to get this started by talking about value. Value is the control that you have over the pencil, where you create light and dark. It is the slow transition from the dark colors to the light colors. You can create value using any color, whether you're using blue or red or any color at all. You can use any primary or secondary color, and is created when you release or increase the pressure on the pencil. When you slowly lift the pencil off of the paper, it creates this very smooth transition from dark to light. Now, if I was going to create this using blue, for example, it works exactly the same way. You just choose whatever color you're wanting to work with, and you're going to press down hard, and then slowly release the pressure. Now, by releasing the pressure, I mean to the point where you're barely touching the paper using your pencil. Now, you could go the opposite direction and just start very light and very slowly increase the pressure. But it takes a lot more practice in order to get to this point. I personally find it much easier going the opposite direction, where you go from dark to light rather than from light to dark. It works exactly the same way. You're just increasing the pressure as you're going down, or decreasing the pressure as you're going up. Now, when it comes to drawing in artwork, you want to have the idea of form, but the only way to accomplish that is to have truly practiced using value in your artwork. Value is, like I said, one of the most imperative aspects to trying to draw. So, in order to have that control for this particular project, that's the main aspect for this. You want to learn how to control that value and how to control your pencil. So I'm going to go ahead and draw one of my stereotypical little characters in the center. For this project, you want to have and use a particular contour of the object. You don't want to have too much complexity for this particular project. If you have a lot of complexity, it's going to increase how difficult the project is. So again, I'm just going to go with one of my little typical little characters, because he's very quick and very easy to draw, so I can go ahead and give you an example of how to do this. Now, for this particular process, once you have your contours in place, you want to go ahead and make sure your lines are nice and neat. Now, in this particular case, I'm going to go a little bit quickly, so you can go ahead and keep up if you want to try and draw it at the same time. Now, once you have your figure itself drawn, you can make this as complex or as simple as you want, like I said, but the more complex your image gets, the more difficult it's going to get to draw. Now, me personally, I always like to include a horizon line in my image, just to make things a little bit more interesting to look at. Now, you can add more. You can add mountains or trees or something like that if you'd like, or you can just leave the figure by itself. Now, once you do that, you want to go ahead and make lines literally going through your object. Make sure that it goes directly from one side of the paper to the other side of the paper. And you can go and crisscross however you'd like, going any direction, as long as it goes all the way across. You don't want to halt at any point, or it's going to make your life a lot more difficult. Now, if you don't want to have a completely straight line, you can actually include squiggly lines, like so. And again, the main obstacle for this image is that you want to go from dark to light when you're trying to shade. So you want to make sure that your lines go all the way across the paper, or it's going to make your life a lot more difficult, and you want to make sure that you have enough lines. So try to make it at least 8 lines, if not more, but try not to get too many, because the more complex you make it, the longer it's going to take for you to do. So for this particular project, you want to just kind of pick the spot to go with. And you can either use colored pencils for the most of the image, or you can use just pencil by itself. So if you don't have any colored pencils, or you don't really want to use colored pencils, you don't have to use it for anything more than the figure itself. So in my case, I would very much like this top squiggly line to turn into a set of mountains. So I'm going to go ahead and start by using the brown. Now, how I'm going to do this is I'm going to go ahead and pick a corner, just any random corner in the art piece. And you're going to press down, and slowly lift your pencil up as you're moving across the image. And again, you're just going to be filling these in as you go across the image, and just fill them in going in this direction or in any direction that you'd like. Now, when you're creating your value, the value itself can go in any direction. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the paper. Turning the paper actually helps to create the value in the direction that you want, because you want to make sure that the value and shading that you're creating is going in a different slant than the ones that are next to it. So this one, since this slant is going this way, I'm going to go ahead and turn the shading this way. So I'm going to, as you can see, it's going to change it just enough so that I can really see the difference as the lines connect. So I'm going to go ahead and keep going, filling the space up all the way to the top as quickly as I can, just so you can go ahead and get an idea of how this is going to turn out. Now, once you're finished, you can go ahead and clean up your lines, go in with marker, however you'd like to make it so that you can really see your character, but you want to make sure that you fill the space up completely. Like I said, I wanted to go ahead and make this into an image where you have a sort of landscape design, but that's my choice, not yours. And it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. The trick is to go ahead and make sure that the lines in this angle do not match the lines in this angle. As you can see, it starts filling up the image pretty quickly, and you can continue onwards from there. Now, there are different types of shading. These are called gradients. If you want to switch from one color to another, you're perfectly capable of doing it. So for example, let's say for the sky, I can go ahead and create a sort of sun effect by creating what's called a radial gradient. And that just simply means that it's going to go in a circle. In this case, I want it to be darker in the center, and then slowly lighter towards the outside edge. Now, this is still considered a gradient. It's still considered value. But in this case, it's going to get lighter towards the outside edge and create the illusion of a sun. Now, this is very similar to how Van Gogh used to do his images when he was coloring his images in. Now, you're going to continue doing this until you fill the entirety of your image. Now, you're just going to keep using different types of value, different types of shading, until you go ahead and fill the entire thing up. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. But for the most part, it should create the slow transition from dark to light. And again, you can always go over the edges in order to blend them out and make them nice and smooth between one color and the next. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Again, you're going to be filling up the entire image using shading going from one direction to the other. And as you're filling your image, you're going to choose different colors and different directions for your value. So down here, I'm going to go ahead and choose green and go side to side and vertically, starting dark on one edge and working my way slowly towards the other edge. This is going to create a very visually dynamic image, and these lines that you added at the beginning are going to tie your entire image together, creating a sort of stained glass effect over the entire project.